Despite the fact that a lot of cyber warfare has been going on, I tried to avoid making an episode about the military conflict going on in Ukraine. It's an ongoing conflict with very serious repercussions, including death, the destruction of homes, and even the destruction of historical and religious artifacts and buildings. However, I feel like I must address some of the cyber warfare and explain exactly what is going on because there has been some huge news lately, and luckily it was positive news. So let's talk about the Russian botnet that the United States government was able to intercept. On Wednesday, April 6th, 2022, Attorney General of the United States Merrick Garland announced that the USA had disrupted a botnet that was controlled by the Russian military's intelligence agency, the main directorate of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation, although it is mostly known today as the GRU, even though that is a previous abbreviation. A botnet is a network of computers, often controlled by a hidden malware in them, that can be used to launch different cyber attacks. The most common types of cyber attacks committed using a botnet is a DDoS, or a distributed denial of service attack, which is an attack that uses multiple computers to bombard websites with requests in order to overload the web server and knock it offline, or to disrupt services for real users. A DDoS is a pretty effective cyber attack because it is very difficult to predict, as well as pretty difficult to mitigate. If a flood of network requests is only coming from one system, it's pretty easy to just block the IP or MAC address, but if it's coming from a lot of different systems all over the world, it can be very difficult to block all of those effectively. And you also have a better chance of just catching someone trying to connect to the website legitimately in the crossfire. In a cyber warfare context, a DDoS can be used to launch attacks against government websites as well as disrupt civilian services like banking websites or news websites, so that people are less able to complete financial transactions or understand what's going on in the world around them. This botnet was composed of thousands of zombie devices, which, apart from computers, also includes network hardware devices such as routers and modems, or a combination router and modem, which is probably what you have in your home. The FBI carried out an operation in March of 2022 to dismantle the botnet by neutralizing a malware called Cyclops Blink from infected devices. Cyclops Blink is a malware that can receive instructions remotely from a list of computers that are controlled by the hackers, and the hackers can therefore upload instructions to perform malicious tasks, such as flooding a website with network requests, if they want to perform a DDoS attack. The malware can also modify firewall settings which can allow unauthorized connections to the zombie computers. Yes, even more unauthorized connections than they already have right now. If anyone who is more into cybersecurity wants to read about the technical details, I added a malware analysis report from the National Cybersecurity Center in the UK to my sources for anyone interested in reading. It's a good summary if you would like to know some of the technical details, but since this is a less technical podcast, I just simplified it for you. Cyclops Blink is believed to actually be a successor of a different botnet called VPN Filter, and VPN Filter targeted routers but was exposed in 2018 and later disrupted by the US government, although some devices are still believed to exist on it, even though nowadays it was thought to be unmanaged. Both botnets are believed to be controlled by Sandworm, which is not the worm from Dune, but a Russian hacker group believed to be working for or with the Russian military. Sandworm is a whole other potential episode, but if you want to read about them, the book Sandworm, A New Era of Cyberwar and the Hunt for the Kremlin's Most Dangerous Hackers by Andy Greenberg is a pretty good place to start, and I would recommend it. Especially if you enjoy nonfiction books like I do. I love nonfiction books and I've read so many cybersecurity books, and many of them have helped me write my podcast. Anyways, along with potentially launching DDoS attacks, some cybersecurity experts believe that the botnet could have been used to collect information for espionage purposes, or potentially inject malware that could damage computers. Cyber war has been very little experimented in, but I imagine anything a hacker can do nowadays is also something an entire country could do nowadays, and the entire country, frankly, has more infrastructure to do something with, so it could be far more dangerous. For now, some of that risk has been mitigated, as all owners of infected devices have been notified before the FBI removed malware from said devices, although it is possible some may still have malware on them, as some citizens were unable to be contacted regarding the devices. Even if this is the case, the controlling computers that could send instructions to the botnet have also had the malware controllers removed from them. Still, the FBI is keeping an eye out on activity that could be from a zombie device, and users are encouraged to avoid installing any firmware updates that are not from official vendor websites, as you should always. This is being specifically emphasized now because it was a confirmed method used to spread Cyclops Blink to devices. Since we don't entirely know how much access hackers had to user systems, users are of course encouraged to change their passwords if they were infected by Cyclops Blink. As far as we know, this botnet has not yet been utilized by the Russian military to perform acts of cyber warfare. But zombies part of the botnet were not only in the Ukraine, but Russia, the UK, US, and other countries all over the world. If desired, this botnet could have been used to target anyone in the world and turn your civilian router into a weapon of war. Thank you to Trend Micro and Bleeping Computer for reporting on this botnet, as well as the National Cybersecurity Center in the UK for information on the Cyclops Blink malware. As always, my sources are in the paste bin in the episode description, and until next time, stay secure.